Welcome in, everyone, and thank you for listening to the 229th ever episode of the Missouri Sports Podcast, brought to you by 106 Apparel and recording from the Revel Advertising Studio in beautiful Springfield, Missouri. I'm one of your hosts, Cameron Albert, alongside my good friend and fellow Mizzou fan, Kyle DeVries. How you doing today, Kyle?
I'm doing great, Cameron. How about you?
Not too bad. Did you get out and play in the snow today?
Honestly, no, I didn't. I should have. I watched my dog go crazy.
You didn't get your coveralls on?
I didn't today, no.
Just
decided to stay inside and look at it.
Well, we took Olivia out in the snow. Last year, she was just a few months old, and it didn't mean anything to her. This year, she actually had some fun out there, stomping around, made a few snowballs. But she doesn't have proper snow gear at this point in her life. So
I've heard she got a good arm.
Yeah, she can really throw.
Really launch them.
Yeah. She was just out there in tennis shoes and sweatpants. So it was just like 5-minute thing.
Yeah.
Play in the snow, little photo op, done.
Yeah. I was getting a little worried that we weren't going to get the snow that we were promised.
Yeah.
It started a lot later than I thought we were going to get it, but it delivered.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I know probably some people wanted to be home from work/school today, but it's really best case scenario. Nice, pretty, fluffy snowfall, but the roads are clear, no big accidents, no, it's not treacherous. I think that's like the sweet spot.
That's a very responsible take.
And it was like that real sticky snow. You could really build.
Oh, yeah, it's snowball snow.
Oh, yeah.
Building snow.
Yeah, immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good for sledding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Building ramps.
All of it. What are we talking about this week? Mizzou football has acquired a couple new quarterbacks. Are any of them good? We don't know. We'll find out. We'll try to find out. And Mizzou basketball won 2 out of 3 last week, just like we predicted.
Are they good? We'll try to find out.
We'll see what we can figure out. Before we get into all of that, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, leave us a review, support us on Patreon if you want. Patreon.com/Missouri Sports Pod. Let's jump right in with these quarterback additions. 2 transfer quarterbacks have committed to Mizzou. Miami's Jake Garcia and Hutchinson Community College's Dylan Label.
Sure.
Who do you take it away? Talk about whoever you want.
So the news of Dylan Label broke last week, right at the tail end of this episode.
We don't need to recap that.
We don't need to recap that too hard, but I don't think this is really a big deal as far as having an impact on Missouri's season, really, or any season. But definitely just needed to fill the room with some bodies of a guy that knows how to throw a football. And that's what Dylan Label's going to be. And he's going to throw some passes in practice and stuff like that, but I don't foresee him ever playing in a game. Jake Garcia, on the other hand, might play in a game.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the bigger splash that we got a few days ago. And he is a quarterback from Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And 6'3", 200. Definitely probably the thing that jumps off the page about Jake Garcia is his recruiting pedigree and just his athleticism. And he's definitely has the measurables that pop and has made some very nice plays on film and stuff like that. Doesn't really have the college production that gets you excited yet, but he's pretty young. So, just a little bit about him. He was a top 50 overall prospect in 2021, so obviously very fresh. Only been in college for, I guess, 2 seasons. Played a little bit last year. Really struggled with accuracy. His completion percentage was just under 60%. Threw for 803 yards, had 5 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. So a good building block. So got some experience against the Power 5 opponents, but didn't do anything too impressive stats-wise.
And the only reason he started any games last year for Miami was because their starting quarterback going into the season got hurt. He was dealing with a shoulder injury off and on all of last year. So Garcia got in there in a situation where, redshirt freshman, I'm guessing that's what he was.
I think so.
So he would still have 3 years of eligibility left for Mizzou. Got in there as a backup last year and made some plays, but obviously looked like a player that was not intended to be the starter last year for Miami. And no matter who the quarterback was last year, Miami's offense struggled mightily. And I think that reflected in the quarterback play. I think the quarterbacks were actually better for Miami last year than the stats indicated, because they had pretty significant weaknesses on the offensive line. And I was reading some Miami message board, and they were talking about how the play calling, the offensive philosophy and everything was kind of a mess last year. They're looking for a bit of a reset going into next season, and that kind of makes sense if your quarterback that played a bit last year is moving on. Kind of a reset maybe for Miami's offense, and hopefully to the advantage of Mizzou. You mentioned his stats there. He did throw for a couple touchdowns his red shirt.
True freshman year?
Yeah, true freshman year before he redshirted.
Right.
It comes out of Miami with about 900 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. And I watched a little bit of his highlights, and it looked like I was really impressed with his, throwing the deep ball accurately. I would say he's going to have the best arm strength that's been at Mizzou since Drew Lock, probably. And probably Sam Horn is in that same category.
Mm-hmm. Just the ball just looks good coming out of their hand.
Yeah, just looks...
Good velocity.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Even his deeper throws last year probably needed more touch. Like, they were just kind of missiles straight down the field.
Yeah.
And, of course, he's still super young and needs to work on some of that stuff.
Yeah, that was always a Drew Lock thing, where he threw a beautiful deep ball, but just throw a rocket and intermediate pass.
Yeah.
That we actually kind of struggled with.
Not very catchable.
Right. So, Mizzou's got some bodies for sure. 3 guys that are perfectly capable of winning the starting job, and it's going to be incredibly fascinating to see what happens this offseason. And they all just kind of bring something different to the table. I mean, we're talking like Brady Cook and Jake Garcia, in my mind, just pretty polar opposite as far as their style of play, what kind of prospects they were. I don't think Jake Garcia is quite as mobile as Brady Cook, but definitely can get out of the pocket and run a little bit if he needs to. But clearly his arm and his measurables are just the number one thing he has going for him, which will always get you as a place. It will always reserve you a spot in a starting roster for a Power 5 team that's looking for the home run play. The teams are always looking for guys like this.
Do you think that just still really early, we haven't seen these guys in practice or anything, but do you think that Garcia's floor is lower than Cook's? Is he maybe more high risk, high reward, and Cook at this point in your mind would be more of the safe option?
Oh, for sure. That's exactly how I see it, where we've seen what Brady Cook can do, and the floor at times was pretty low during this season, but I definitely view him as a safer option. He gives you a floor just with his rushing game. You know what you can get from his rushing game every game.
Yeah.
Has the ability to go out and win games, but clearly his ceiling is very limited. And Jake Garcia, basically the opposite. The floor is very low, but his ceiling very high. So, just kind of, I honestly think, and we're going to talk about this so much this offseason, but, just my initial impressions of how the quarterback battle might go is just maybe all up to how Drinkwitz wants to handle the season. He has a lot of returning players coming back on defense. If he sees this season as maybe his last chance to really hit a home run with a team that has a chance to, finish as a top 10 team or something like that, does he go for the home run play with Jay Garcia as maybe the only option that can really put them over the top? Or does he almost view it completely opposite, where it's we've got this returning defense, I really just want to play it safe and make sure we get eight or 9 wins, because I think Brady Cook can potentially get us there. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be so interesting, and just that added dimension of Kirby Moore too. How does he factor in, and what is his opinion of these quarterbacks? Obviously, Sam Horn was here before Kirby Moore was, so how does he view Sam Horn? All 3 of them, it's they've got different things going for them in this equation. It's going to be pretty fascinating.
Yeah, so the way this is going to play out is Sam Horn and Jake Garcia are going to be going through spring practices and everything, while Cook is sidelined from his shoulder surgery. And then Cook and Jabari Johnson are going to kind of join the battle late. But obviously Cook has the experience. Johnson, I feel like, is the odd man out as far as not having the experience and also not getting to campus early. So I don't know. I feel like Horn and Garcia are really going to have an opportunity in the spring to basically set the bar fairly high. In theory, they could set the bar pretty high for Cook coming back from injury to where, I don't know, he may just not have it once he gets back.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of time left. Do you think, so you've got Cook, Horn, and Garcia, basically three-way neck and neck race right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be tough. They all have disadvantages where Cook, he's hurt. He's not going to, like you said, he probably won't factor in until the summer or the spring or the fall even.
Mm-hmm.
Garcia just walked onto campus. And Horn is a younger guy with no college experience at all. They all have kind of a disadvantage. They all have an advantage. I guess I kind of see them as kind of a three-way tie right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just throw them in the blender and see what happens. See who is the last man standing.
Yeah, and you mentioned the new offensive coordinator. I like the idea of just a wide open competition, and I like the idea of him being able to be the one watching these guys practice. And
new pair of eyes.
Yes, absolutely. And if he's bringing new wrinkles to the offense and stuff that he wants to do that's maybe a little bit different than what we've been doing the last couple seasons, then that's going to be an adjustment for Brady Cook. And if he's missing spring practices where they're installing some of this stuff, I could see him being a little bit behind the curve once he gets going. But his experience is going to bring him right back into the conversation. So this is... I kind of wanted to just get our thoughts right now before anything's happened, because this is going to be something we talk about the rest of the spring and summer.
Who do you want to win the job? He's like, here you go.
I think I still want Sam Horn to win the job, but...
In terms of you just want him to be good enough to...
I want him to just... show up for spring practices, learn Kirby Moore's system, and thrive in it, and just never look back.
Yeah.
And be the starter for 3 years.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I think we've kind of had the emotional investment in Sam Horn. We've kind of thought this is going to be his team eventually. Don't know when, but I mean, Jake Garcia was more highly ranked than Sam Horn coming out of high school.
True.
We always think of, at least me personally, I think of Sam Horn as just on this pedestal of like, man, we've never had, or not never, but we rarely have an opportunity to have a quarterback with this kind of talent lead our team. And then here comes Jake Garcia, just a guy we had literally never heard of, and he's here.
Yeah,
and
the way I'm thinking of Horn is like, it's like we went and plucked Drew Lock out of Georgia.
Yeah.
Basically.
He feels like the chosen one, and I agree with you that, I want Sam Horn to win the job. He's been in the program for a year now. He's been learning. He's been maturing and watching, and I think that's best case scenario if Sam Horn comes in and just wins the job and is good.
And I think for me, seeing Garcia struggle a little bit, obviously circumstances outside of his control at Miami, that just kind of makes him too close to what Brady Cook is in my mind. Or just like,
just a little bit.
And that's kind of silly because it'll be a whole different thing at Mizzou, but
it's like there's intrigue to Sam Horn just because we haven't really seen him yet.
Exactly.
He hasn't really messed up yet.
The potential is still sky high.
Sure.
We don't have a solid reason to knock him on that yet, other than the fact that the coaching staff didn't feel comfortable with him starting any games last year, but we know that says more about, I think I'm at the point now where that says more about Coach Drinkwitz and his tendencies than it does the quarterback.
Just philosophy.
Yes, exactly.
Not playing super young players.
Yeah, but then at the same time, what are we doing with Jabari Johnson? I mean, I guess this is a good problem to have, but it's not a good problem if none of these guys just take the job and run with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like my worry is with several talented guys competing for the job every year, we'll just kind of be stuck in this limbo where it's like, if we can't get anybody to just rise above and be like, nope, I'm the starting quarterback, put everybody's mind at ease and move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a kind of a phenomenon that I feel like I used to think about a lot in college athletics that I maybe don't think about as much anymore just because of the nature of the sport, is just that year-to-year stability, like getting better each and every year, more experience, getting older. And, you know, I think that obviously with Brady Cook's ceiling being a little bit lower, I still think he could improve, yes, but ultimately I think best case scenario, again, for Sam Horn is that he comes in and wins the job and just is here for 3 years or 2 years. It's like, I guess that's a good problem to have, that we just have 4 guys that are talented and fighting for the job all at one time. But ultimately, I think you want to find the one guy, though, that's just going to be your guy and then continually get better the longer he's in the program and get out of that just new faces every year phase.
Yeah. I feel like we're kind of stuck there. Mm-hmm. But again, I can't help but feel like we were probably just spoiled previously,
maybe,
of having this like very clear succession of good to great quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. And once that stopped happening, it's like, oh yeah, this is what a lot of teams deal with. That's actually.
True. And just the stakes are so high in college football that where it's like, we don't have the patience to have a guy for multiple years if he's not exactly what we want. We always want something better, understandably, if it's out there. And so, you know, the stakes are so high for coaches and for players both that you kind of have to deliver in their first year, even if there's room to improve down the road.
And I also am struggling to figure out if or how the extension, Drinkwitz extension, will factor into this, because part of me thinks, well, that gives him a little bit more security to perhaps go with a younger player that he feels more comfortable with, that he wasn't, you know, stuck with, or, you know, a guy that he recruited to come in here and be his quarterback. It seems like with the added security of the contract extension, he would be more likely to put the ball in the hands of a younger guy that he knows he can develop. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough to know exactly what that extension means. And because he got extended, but I'm not sure that means he's not coaching for his job either. So I totally see that, but I also feel like he feels some urgency, especially with all the defense coming back. I don't know. That could give a little edge to Brady Cook because he knows what he's got with him.
It's almost like it's just an incredibly complex, nuanced situation.
And that you could form a narrative for favoring any of these 3 guys.
Yes.
You could really make the argument for any of them. Yep. It's just going to be whatever Coach Drinkwitz, whenever he wants to go with, is going to be the one. We're
going to just have to find a way. I'm telling myself this mostly. We're going to have to just find a way to enjoy this process and enjoy, you know, finding out new information about these quarterbacks as the process unfolds.
Yeah. I mean, you thought last summer or last offseason in general had a lot of like speculation.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't even seem that long ago that we were like, Coach Drinkwitz wrote the word cook in a tweet. Oh, he took a picture of himself barbecuing
He's
meat.
Cooking.
Brady Cook's the guy, and we were right. So, you know, that's going to be even higher up. I think that's going to be even more ramped up this summer.
Yeah, get ready for those clues.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, embrace it. Okay, anything else football related before we switch to basketball?
I think that's it.
All right. Like I said up top, Mizzou basketball won 2 out of 3. Started it off with a home win over Arkansas. You love to see Mizzou basketball get a win, but holy cow, was this game rough to watch.
It was.
Arkansas led early. Mizzou kept it close into the second half. Arkansas started to pull away. They basically did the exact same thing that they did in the first matchup, where they just like steadily just started making shots, getting stops, not a huge run, but just like steadily increasing their lead. To the point, it was a 10-point Arkansas lead with 5 minutes left. It was, 67-57. Mm-hmm. Mizzou went on a 10-0 run to tie it at 67. And that was, honestly, the most enjoyable and maybe the only enjoyable part of this game was that little run. Yeah. And even though Mizzou won, man, there was just like free throw city, foul every possession.
A 10-0 run in that game, I mean, it's like 20% of your entire points that were scored there in an unanswered fashion. But yeah, this game, man, like I just kind of think that's also Arkansas basketball just because they're long and they're suffocating on defense. I think that's partly SEC basketball because it seems like every SEC game we play in, the refs want to be the main character.
I got to imagine, I'm going to get stuck on the refs here for a minute, but I have convinced myself that like the Big 12 must just be paying their refs like twice as much because no offense, if you know a ref in the SEC, the good ones are not coming to this conference. They're going elsewhere, and they got to be being paid more in other conferences.
I'm glad you said that little disclaimer.
Yeah, I don't want to offend anybody.
That was really respectful. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I agree. They're awful.
It makes me want to do some research into like the referee salaries in the different conferences. The SEC, you've got enough money to pay some refs, get some good refs in here.
Is it because they're bad? Is it a ref problem? Is it like a style of basketball? Like are SEC teams just playing a little more physically? I guess maybe I should know. I should be paying more attention. I don't know, but I haven't watched a ton of Big 12 games this year. But maybe I should.
It's a better product most of the time. Now maybe the Big 12 they only have 10 teams. Yeah, that's the dumbest thing ever. Big 12, but. They're just it's a really solid basketball conference, and when you watch those matchups of like I watched a decent amount of Iowa State, Kansas State, and it was just good,
it was entertaining.
Enjoyable, entertaining basketball throughout.
Yeah, and
it's not like it's good defense. It's good half court offense.
Yeah, I always think that sometimes just watching March Madness. I've watched Missouri all year long.
Yes.
So I've watched Konzo Martin basketball all year long. And then it's like March Madness, like wow, they're not having a foul called on every possession.
Yeah, the Arkansas game was something else.
They're scoring over 60 points. Yeah, that was truly like even in a win, it was just brutal to watch.
56 fouls called. 4 Arkansas players fouled out. There was like I think 6 official reviews.
Oh my
for
gosh.
Like potential flagrant fouls and like even out of bounds stuff.
And they apparently even got one wrong that the SEC had to put out a statement on the next day.
I'm over the reviews.
Oh my gosh.
Like if you miss it live, just move on. We can't. This game, the actual length of this game was 2 hours and 37 minutes.
Is there a way to look at the longest basketball games played this year on KenPom or something like that? Does it have them ranked?
I don't know.
Because that's got to be up there.
I'll look into it.
Legitimately, that's got to be up there.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Mizzou came out on top though. Kobe Brown finished with 17 points. Golston was 16. He had some huge shots down the stretch. There was the fadeaway and one.
Yeah, I think some of the national media got a hold of that one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That was a bad call.
It was horrible.
And
he wasn't within 2 feet of him. The defender was not in 2 feet within 2 feet of Golston, and he got called for the foul.
Yeah, I mean, he had his arm on him like well before the shot. I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, there, I think that was an iffy call, questionable. I would say.
Yeah.
But big game for Golston. He's like the master of just like shots that aren't good looks, but then they still go in.
Yeah.
And that fadeaway was one of those. And then he had a huge 3 late in the game.
Do you think, respectfully, Golston has more than 1 assist on the season?
We could probably find that out. He doesn't have many. That is an issue when he's on the floor, is the ball sticks with him.
My dude likes to shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a north and south player, man. Like when he gets the ball, he's looking to score. That, on a team like last year, that would have been very pleasing to have somebody that just wants to take control and can do it.
Yeah.
But he is a little sloppy with the ball sometimes, kind of turns it over, takes pretty bad shots, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But
I like him when he is getting to the basket, though.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? I mean, he knocks down those long twos. So
yeah, he has a great mid-range game for sure.
But it's kind of inefficient offense from him. But you can deal with that to some extent when you're like coming off the bench and you just need to manufacture some offense. Mm-hmm. But I think this Missouri team is deep enough and has enough guys that can score baskets that you don't really need to have a guy come in and dominate the ball like that. But it worked out okay in this one. Mizzou, this Arkansas game started a trend of Mizzou not being able to shoot threes. In this one, Aiden Shaw was 2 for 2. Mo Diarra was 1 for 1.
Yeah.
So they were combined 3 for 3 from 3. The rest of the team was 2 for 17, including 0 for 5 from Demoy Hodge.
It's one of the stranger stats of the entire season for sure. I don't know what was going on. I don't know what was going on with the team really the past 3 or 4 games, not counting Ole Miss because they shot well in that game, but it was just like
a cold stretch.
Just turned off.
Yeah.
Yep.
And of course, like with 3 seconds left in the game, Kobe Brown twists his ankle and has to miss the Alabama game as a result.
Which could have been way worse.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have been worse, and the injury could have been worse, and it could have been worse that we were actually like playing a winnable game.
Yeah.
So if he's going to miss one, I guess might as well be the Alabama game.
For sure. But yeah, the end of this game felt like all free throws. Like no normal just like field goal makes. It was just like
after that 10-0 run, it was just free throws back and forth.
Go to the line.
It was rough, but we made it through it with the win. I'll take it, I guess.
I'll do anything to beat Arkansas.
That's true. Then Mizzou lost to Alabama 85-64. We don't need to talk about this one a ton. No Kobe Brown, so we'll just chalk it up to that. It had nothing to do with the fact that Alabama is seemingly unbeatable right now. Brandon Miller is incredible. The play where he just like had to do something towards the end of the shot clock and, crossed over a little bit, pulled up from 3, drained it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, this guy should be in the NBA.
Yep, he's an NBA player, no doubt.
And Mizzou was right there in this one, except they weren't at all because they shot 3 of 28 from 3.
They played fine in the first half.
Not awful.
Alabama pulled away kind of at the end of the first half, but they were in it probably through the first like 15 minutes of the game. After that, it was all Alabama. And yeah, just terrible shooting.
Yeah.
All night.
So no Kobe Brown in this one. Isaiah Mosley played in the Arkansas game. I mean, everybody knows by now he is now a full go. Whatever was holding him back previously is no longer. Started the new semester, so he is full speed ahead. Played in the Arkansas game, played a lot more in the Alabama game. And again, okay timing. You going up against a buzzsaw in Alabama, that's an okay time for Mosley to figure some stuff out. You don't have Kobe Brown. He can knock the rust off a little bit. That looks like exactly what happened.
He shot terribly from 3 and still scored 19 points, I think, against Alabama.
Yeah, he played 33 minutes, which is the most he's played all season. Was 8 of 10 from 2, but yeah, unfortunately, 1 of 8 from 3. 19 points.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him get into the free throw line more. He got to the line 4 times against Arkansas, but not at all in the last 2 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was so fun to see him get out there and play a lot of minutes and kind of start to look like the player that we've seen him be before. And I know I've said this many times before, but there are very few players in college basketball that can create like Isaiah Mosley and score at the volume and the efficiency that he does and just find any and all ways to get to the basket. And there's very few people like him in college basketball.
And it got even better for him. We don't need to talk about this Alabama game anymore. Alabama's really good, and
they will win the SEC and potentially be a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. Right now, the SEC might have 2 of the 4 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament. But Mizzou went to Ole Miss and got a really big road win. They beat Ole Miss 89-77. Hodge woke up. He had a huge game. Mosley was back. No rust. Kobe was back from injury. He looked good. I mean, this is the Mizzou offense that we've been watching from earlier in the season. This is the Mizzou team that beat Illinois, beat Kentucky. They were just firing on all cylinders. Mm-hmm. Defense is what we know to be, but the offense was right there. Hodge, 24 points, 6 of 11 from 3, and he wasn't only shooting threes. Like the commentary crew was mentioning they were making a point of emphasis, Mizzou's offense, to get some cuts to the basket. He finished a couple of those right at the rim, looked really good. Kobe added 18 points, 4 of 6 from 3 from him. He's now leading the team in 3-point shooting. Not quantity, but percentage-wise. Yeah.
Wow.
And Mosley, 20 points, 4 of 7 from 3, and 5 assists. And I have to mention Mo Diarra, 11 points, 6 rebounds, including 3 offensive rebounds. I think those 3 were Mizzou's only offensive rebounds in this game.
Yeah, the offense, fantastic. The defense, pretty bad. Rebounding, horrific. But that's kind of just the formula that Missouri's going to play at this year. And it was good enough to win this game. And any road game in the SEC or conference season in general is a huge win, is a big deal. So definitely will take that. Yeah, Demoy Hodge, I'm pretty sure he made like 4 3-pointers in the first 5 minutes of the game.
He started the game 4 for 4.
Just insanely hot to start off, which was great to see. It seems like he's super on or just not making anything, but was happy to see it going in for him last night.
And when you're on the road against a struggling team like Ole Miss, and it was not a full arena, and I feel like that helps the road team tremendously if they just go into a place and it's kind of dead and you can just do what you want to do, and the crowd is a complete non-factor. I kind of was just joking around on Discord, like, after the first 2 threes went down, I was like, Hodge just needed a quiet arena. And it seemed to work out that way. Mm-hmm. And you were talking about Mosley earlier, but he really showed it all in the Ole Miss game. Just the way he gets into the paint, and he just has a knack for getting the defender to jump early, and then he just hangs in the air and finishes.
Yeah.
So
he will break you down. He will use his length to get around you and kind of scoop and score.
Yes.
He'll do this hardened step back 3 and drain it in your eye.
Yes.
he can do it all. But honestly, yeah, it's crazy to see how the personnel has changed throughout the season, like who's made a difference at certain points in the year. It felt like Noah Carter was kind of almost like the MVP at times early in the season. He's kind of like faded away just because he tends to be a little one-dimensional at times, and kind of a liability on defense and rebounding. And honestly, even Ronnie DeGray was like a huge factor in a couple of games in like the mid-season where he was kind of adding some defense and rebounding down low. Now it's like the surge of Isaiah Mosley and Mo Diarra, where it's just like these guys. I mean, obviously Isaiah Mosley hasn't come out of nowhere, but guys that basically have not impacted the season at all up until 3 games ago are now like the stars of the team. It's just so bizarre.
Yeah, and obviously this has been talked about a bit, and Coach Gates has commented on this, but going back to the Arkansas game, Aiden Shaw got 0 minutes in the game before that, and then came out and played an incredible game, made a couple threes, was a huge reason Missouri beat Arkansas. And so, yeah, the depth on this team and the ability for any one of these guys to show up and make baskets is pretty incredible. Sean East has had games earlier in the season where he kind of took over down the stretch.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about, obviously, Coach Gates and his ability to kind of just scheme up a game plan a little bit. Like, guys are going to play based on the scouting report and who he thinks is best matchup-wise, but maybe even more so than what it says about Gates is what it says about the players and how they're just willing to do whatever it takes to win. They're not, like, it doesn't seem like anybody's being selfish on this team at all. Aiden Shaw, maybe he could have been upset that he didn't get in against, I guess, was it Arkansas he didn't play?
The game before that.
One of the games he didn't play at all, and then, like you said, just bounces back in the next game and hits 2 huge threes. It just seems like everybody's kind of bought in with like whatever coach wants to do, and they're willing to play. And if not, that's okay. They understand that there are better options.
And Diarra could have so easily, if he was listening to me, he would have just like checked out of the season and been like, "Oh, I'm transferring somewhere else after this year."
Literally, last episode we were like, "Is Diarra like a thing?
Is this really happening?"
I don't really think so.
Yeah, just completely wrong.
Yeah,
and he just goes out and proves us wrong multiple games in a row.
Yeah, it's so nice to.
We can take a little credit for that. Maybe we put the chip on his shoulder.
Maybe so. It's so nice to see like what we would have probably determined kind of a prospect, kind of a developmental type guy, like actually improve and like show up and show continuous improvement has been really fun to watch.
And especially when it's an area of considerable need.
Yeah, you're basically forced to get in there and make a difference on the boards.
Yeah.
But I think that's why he was in there at first, was to just go get rebounds because nobody else is willing to, apparently. but he's really shown some offensive flashes as well. I mean, he's 6'10", 6'11". He had a drive, like baseline drive, where he dunked a couple of games ago. He's made some threes. He's got some offensive ability.
Yeah, he's been really impressive. I thought, the Ole Miss game was just very refreshing. It was like the Arkansas game. Yeah, they won, but what was that even? Who knows? Like, not great basketball.
Certainly lost some years off our life watching that.
Yeah, but the Ole Miss game was just a breath of fresh air.
For sure.
Just go,
shots going in,
do your job. Yeah, obviously, this was, I believe, Missouri set a new record for the Mizzou program in SEC play with 16 made threes. Did that make sense?
Yes, it did.
16 of 30 from three. That'll win most games.
Yeah, you're going to beat a lot of teams doing that. Ole Miss shot well from three, and it did not matter.
Yeah.
I think they made 9 or 10 threes.
They made 10, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Missouri's offense, when they're clicking, though, like 58% from two, 53% from three, you're not going to beat that. Turned Ole Miss over 16 times. 11 steals for Missouri. Love it.
They got to do that. I think that's just kind of the key to them playing well and efficiently.
Ole Miss 16 offensive rebounds, though.
Yeah. Pretty bad.
That's never going away.
What are they in offensive efficiency on KenPom?
Mizzou?
Are they top 5?
I'll tell you. They are 6th as of earlier today. So after going 2-1, Mizzou is at 15-5 overall, 4-4 in conference play, number 55 in KenPom. Like I said, 6th in offensive efficiency, 196th in defensive efficiency. But according to all the experts, we're still on the good side of the bubble. ESPN bracketology has us 10 seed, Bart Torvik 11 seed. I even included your favorite guy, Jerry Palm, with CBS Sports, 9 seed.
We love Jerry around here.
I don't have much affinity for Jerry. I'm just not familiar with his game.
Okay.
I'm more of a Joe Lenardi guy.
Okay, yeah. You're more an ESPN guy, just kind of cookie cutter. That's fine.
I guess, yeah.
That's fine.
I'm a sheep, I guess. ESPN sheep.
Are you gonna try and predict all the seeds this year, Cam?
No, that's your game.
I don't know if I have time for that this year.
Really?
We'll see.
Really?
Just what did I do? Didn't I beat Jerry Palm and Joe Lenardi
yes.
last year?
And Bart Torvik. You beat the computers.
Predicting what teams were going to be what seeds and stuff. That took a while.
Yeah.
That was a little project.
Don't even act like you're going to not do that this year.
I can't walk away now.
Yeah.
I can't just finish on a high note.
No. Because I was like so certain that there was no chance. I was so positive that was not going to go well for you. And then I was so completely dead wrong.
I was like, I think I could do that. Like, I think I can seed these teams better than Joe Lenardi. And I was like, I guess I'll just try.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know if I can do it again.
I think you got lucky.
You would say that. Just make me do it again. You just want to see me fail.
Hey, it's for content. Don't worry.
Okay.
It's not personal.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. So there are 10 SEC games left in the regular season. We play Iowa State, but then we got 10 SEC games left. Let's look at the standings here.
Jumbled mess in the middle, just like it always is.
It is messy there.
It's like I don't even know who to root for in some of these games because it's like I just don't know how it's going to stack up at the end of the season.
I guess I was thinking about that. I guess we just want Alabama and Tennessee to beat everybody else.
100%. Yeah, just steamroll everybody. But it's like it's kind of like the Kentuckys, the Florida, Vanderbilt. Those are kind of the teams that are around us. It's like, we've beat Kentucky. Do we want to root for them?
Right.
I don't know.
So Alabama's ahead of the pack at 7-0. Auburn, Tennessee, and Texas A&M are all have one loss.
Do you think there's a chance A&M could still kind of come down to like middle of the road territory? Or is this a little bit of a fraudulent start to the SEC play?
I feel like there's always a team that does this though, where they're
it was A&M last year.
They have a tendency to kind of do that. They're just okay. They're kind of figuring stuff out in non-conference play, not ranked in the top 25 or anything, and then just are one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the conference.
Did they even make the tournament last year, though? I think they just fell off the map
right,
by the end of the season.
Yeah, you may be right.
I think they're going to do it again.
All right. Well, that sounds good to me. Yeah, so A&M's up there with those other guys. Kentucky and Florida have 3 losses. Then Mizzou is right behind them at 4-4. Georgia, surprise team at 3-3. Vanderbilt 3-4. Arkansas 3-5. Then there's a group of teams at the bottom with just 1 conference win. South Carolina, Mississippi State, LSU, and Ole Miss.
I'm a little surprised about Mississippi State and LSU both. They had good non-conference seasons. I'm pretty sure LSU, I mean, they had a soft
We're going to talk about LSU.
Non-conference, but I'm pretty sure they came into SEC play with only 1 or 2 losses on the season.
You're exactly right. I'll tell you more about that in a little bit.
I can't wait.
Yeah, so we cross Ole Miss off the list. We got the win there. We've got matchups against South Carolina, Mississippi State, and LSU still on the schedule. So
2 against LSU, I think, home and away.
The Mizzou fan in me is like, okay, well, a perfect opportunity to mess all of this up by losing to these teams at the bottom of the standings.
For sure. I thought you were going to say some like sunshine pumper thing, and I was going to be like, oh, that's definitely not how I see it. But then you...
No.
Okay, yeah, we're on the same page there.
Yeah.
Well, they'll mess it up somehow.
Those are great opportunities to lose.
Too many road games.
Yeah, that's true. Now, I've all season long, going back to the preview, I've liked Mizzou's last 5 games. I feel good about 4 out of 5, if not a 5-game winning streak to end the regular season. Okay, we'll see how we feel after the first 5 games of the stretch. But that's still how I'm feeling right now. So if Mizzou right now is 7th in the conference, Florida, Kentucky, and A&M are the teams between us and top 4 in the league.
AKA double bye territory.
Are we making up that ground? Are we getting into the top 4?
I don't think so.
So the goal needs to be, and what we need to be satisfied with as fans, I'm proposing this to you, is being in the next 4.
Yeah.
Anywhere in there, we're doing okay.
Yeah, for sure. 100% avoid the play-in territory. That would be objectively a failure.
Yeah.
To be in the bottom 4, but yeah, I think you around the 6, 7, maybe 8 range. You're gonna be a little nervous on Selection Sunday, but you're gonna have a chance to win a game or 2 in the SEC tournament.
And that's fairly easy for me to say because that is our trajectory right now. Is
That's
on the good side of the bubble.
The most safe prediction.
If things go absolutely the way they've gone all season, we'll be on the good side, probably solidly, but we're gonna drop one of these games that we shouldn't, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I did want to mention a couple things. I just wanted to shout out Kobe Brown averaging just under 16 points, 6 rebounds, 2.5 assists per game.
You want to shout him out?
Yeah, I feel like his time at Mizzou is going to be over soon, and before the season is over, I just want to reflect a little bit about his journey so far. Like, we've talked multiple times about, like, can he be the top guy on a team that makes the NCAA tournament? And it gives me a lot of faith and hope in the Dennis Gates hire, that he was able to be like, yeah, we've got Kobe Brown, and he was able to make a team that, like, accents Kobe Brown's skills and maximizes what he's able to do on the basketball court. I don't know that was ever happening before Gates comes to town. It seemed like we were borderline going to, the Kobe Brown era at Mizzou was going to come and go without much success in the wins and losses. So,
yeah, he's playing a little bit of bully ball for sure. Like, he's utilizing his big body and using and exploiting mismatches, and it just really helps that he can step out and hit the 3 sometimes too, because that just adds an entire dimension to his game. But yeah, I do think he's playing pretty close to his ceiling this season. He's been playing really well, but I also want to throw out,
yes, let's hear it,
he's eligible for one more season.
That is true.
I know you know that.
Yeah, okay, you'll understand if I am mentally preparing for him to not be here next year.
I understand.
And
that's how you process.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And then if he comes back, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier he's now leading the team in shooting percentage. He's at 44% from three.
Wow, I would not have guessed that.
Hodge, he was slumping pretty hard before the Ole Miss game, so his percentage has dropped down to 39, still pretty good. And Nick Honor is right there at 39% as well. But yeah, Kobe doing it all.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, while we're taking the time to reflect, I mean, I was going to say also, like, just enjoy this part of the basketball season too, because every game is so big. And I don't know, this is just such a fun time of year, and I'm going to be riding the emotions up and down for the next, month or two or whatever it is. But I mean, we're strapped in for a fun journey here for the next, 6 weeks. So
yeah, like
every game's important.
You can go up and down like 3 spots in the conference standings with one win or loss.
Yeah, but man, college basketball season is fun whenever your team is relevant.
Yeah. Before Mizzou gets back into SEC play, they do welcome the old Big 12 foe, Iowa State, coming to Columbia. Iowa State in their second season under TJ Otzelberger, one of the most incredible turnarounds in recent memory, honestly, going from 3 wins before he got there to now this will be back-to-back 20-plus win seasons, NCAA tournament. Like, if they continue the pace they're on right now, they could be a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament easily.
Yeah.
They're
truly remarkable,
yeah.
Like what he's done in the past 2 seasons.
So far this year, they are 15-4, 6-2 in the Big 12, 12th overall in KenPom, 57th on offense, 8th in the nation in defensive efficiency. They're going to cause some trouble for Missouri's offense. Nice. Be ready for that. They are led by 2 transfers from St. Bonaventure, Jaron Holmes and Osuni.
Nice.
I got an interesting fact here for you. I got a little trivia question here.
Okay.
Iowa State has 8 seniors. Their entire team is made up of 8 seniors and 3 freshmen. Guess how many of those seniors started their careers at Iowa State? Out of those 8 seniors.
Well, I don't know, to answer your question. I'm going to guess.
Yeah, take a guess.
I mean, considering we are where we are in college basketball, Otzelberger's only in his second year there. I mean, I'm going to guess it's 1 or 0.
It is 0. 8 seniors on this Iowa State team, 0 of them started their careers at Iowa State.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it is just like the perfect storm. Like that is what we deal with right now. And you win 3 games in a season, bring in a new coach. It's kind of like you're just going to clean house.
And was he at UNLV before Iowa State?
Yes.
I wonder if he brought anybody over from at UNLV.
I'm not actually sure off the top of my head. The top 2 guys are the St. Bonaventure transfers. They have a freshman who is from Ames, Iowa. Lipsy is his last name, and he's pretty solid. I'm not sure if anybody came over from UNLV.
They're fresh off a win.
Yeah, big
against
win.
Kansas State.
Big win.
Which is also like maybe one of the the best story in college basketball this year.
Jerome Tang, just first year. And he even had like a rocky offseason where people were questioning his recruiting and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And he has proved every doubter wrong.
My goodness. Yeah,
we talked about him for the Mizzou job.
Yes, we did. Big 12 basketball, I hate to say it, is incredible, top to bottom. Yeah. Easily the best conference in basketball, at least at this point in time.
Yeah. Iowa State, number 12 team in KenPom. They're really good. 8th on defense.
But do they rebound?
Do they rebound? Yeah. 35th in the nation in offensive rebounding percentage.
It's over.
Yeah. Number 1 team in turnover percentage defense. Number 1 team in non-steal turnovers. So basically, they're just incredible at defense, and they wear you down. They make you pass the ball around the perimeter for the entire shot clock, and 13% of the time, you just turn it over without them even stealing the ball. Because they just grind you down with this. They're 307th in tempo. They grind you down. Mizzou's half-court offense is going to look so bad against this Iowa State team. I mean, it's looked bad at times this year.
Yeah. Very exploitable.
Yes. In Iowa State, their whole defensive game plan is geared around slowing you down into the half court and just making you throw the ball around the perimeter.
Okay, well, what if Dennis Gates says we're gonna speed you up?
Well, yeah, that's the only.
Is that the key to victory?
That's our only shot. I mean,
get them spun up a little bit.
They just don't really do it.
Yeah.
They played. Okay, so an interesting matchup from earlier this season is Iowa State played St. John's. So you know who the coach of St. John's is.
I sure do.
They are number 3 in the nation in tempo, 3rd fastest tempo. In that matchup, there were 73 possessions. That is the most of any Iowa State game this season. And
how did that turn out for St. John's?
St. John's only scored 60 points. So, yeah.
We're looking at that.
Yeah.
This weekend, potentially.
Yeah.
Mizzou Arena is going to be rocking. This is a home game.
It is a home game. Unfortunately, it's going to be too loud for Des Moines Hodge.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
Also, I just thought of this.
Yes, go ahead.
I love Trey Gomillion. I really do. But I really didn't miss him against in the Ole Miss game.
Okay, so I hadn't even thought about that he wasn't there, and yeah, I didn't even notice. So let's maybe keep Isaiah Mosley in the starting lineup.
That's something.
Yeah.
To build on.
I have always kind of felt like Gomillion coming off the bench makes the most sense. And if there's like an offensive matchup where you just need him to kind of bully a guard.
Just annoy somebody.
Yes, just make it difficult for them, then I like sending him out there to do that. But, yeah.
Just not helping the offense.
I would agree. Now, but I thought the same thing about Mo Diarra a week ago. I thought, why do we have him in there? Because bad things happen on the offensive end when he's in the game.
That's true.
And he has proved me wrong. So
that's true, but he's a virtually unproven player with very little college experience, and
that's true.
We're not sure what he's capable of yet.
Yeah, we know what we're getting out of Gomillion at this point. I'm trying to see if there's any way we win this game, and it's if Mizzou comes out and shoots 16 of 30 from 3, then sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that this is some impossible game to win. I mean, we're talking up Iowa State like they're, insanely good, and which they are, but or invincible. But,
right.
And they have some strengths that will exploit Missouri for sure. And probability-wise, Missouri probably wins this thing 20% of the time, but there's absolutely a path to victory here. And unfortunately, it comes down to making shots, because that's Missouri's entire game is predicated on getting the team spun up, turning them over, getting
transition buckets.
Yeah. And that clearly is good for their shot making ability. I don't know what it is, but they make shots when they're running in transition and they're getting the other team kind of panicked. It's going to be tougher to do that against a good Iowa State team, but it's not impossible. And there's certainly a path to victory here.
Yeah, and Iowa State offensively, they're going to try to manufacture offense in the half court. Just they're good about not turning the ball over. So I don't know. It would be the easiest way to win this game is Iowa State have an off night shooting from 3. They're not an incredible 3-point shooting team, so that's possible. Mm-hmm. Missouri, not a good 3-point defending team, so there's that. But I think you're exactly right. It's going to come down to what extent can Mizzou play their type of game, and can they get 3-point shots to fall?
Mm-hmm. I say yes.
Okay. You're going to make it official with a prediction?
I'll make a prediction. I do think Iowa State's going to win, but I think that Missouri, they're not going to get just blown out of this thing. I think Iowa State wins 71-66.
I already wrote down 66 for my Mizzou score.
Well, you can't say that then.
Well, Kyle, are you aware of the fact that Mizzou is undefeated when they score at least 70 points?
Really?
Yes. They said that on the broadcast last game.
Well, then they got to get there.
I don't think they can get to 70 against Iowa State.
Unlikely.
No. Need Hodge to have a good game. Maybe you need Noah Carter to make a couple threes.
Hey, Mizzou is 6th overall in KenPom offensive efficiency. They're good. They're good, Cameron.
They are, I guess. That's such a weird thing.
It really is.
Like,
it's like
sixth
they're good,
in the country.
I guess.
And then they can just go absolutely cold.
Yeah, it's like I'm not sure I buy it.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think their offense is a little hollow. I'll say it at times.
Yeah, what's crazy is they would be number 1 easy if they were just average on offensive rebounding.
Yep.
Easily the most efficient offense if they could just grab if they could rebound a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a single little bit. Okay, yeah. I basically picked the same score, 70-66. So that's exactly what's going to happen, obviously. After that, we get back into SEC play with another home game, this time against LSU. LSU, you alluded to it earlier, really weird season so far. They are 12-8, 1-7 in SEC play.
Basically opposite of Texas A&M season.
Yeah. After starting the year 12-1, they beat Arkansas to open SEC play, 1-0, and then they have now lost 7 games in a row. And something that sounds good to me is in those 7 losses, they are averaging 56 points per game.
Yikes.
Now, it's been a rough schedule for them. They've played, those 7 games have been Kentucky, A&M, Florida, Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, and Arkansas.
That is pretty brutal.
So now with this...
And now they get Missouri, who is the 6th overall offensive efficiency on KenPom.
Exactly.
Just
so
a gauntlet.
Yeah. After the Mizzou game, they will have played like only the top half of the SEC so far. They're still on KenPom right now only projected to win 4 conference games. They have 1 so far.
New coach.
We've been talking about new coaches, just like transforming programs and putting them over the top. Not happening so far for, what's his name, Matt McMahon. He came over from Murray State, and he brought with him, what's his name, Williams.
KJ?
Yes. Who is pretty close to averaging a double-double. I think he's averaging like 17 and 7.
Yeah, basically doing exactly what he did at the mid-major level, which he was one of the best mid-major players in America.
Yeah, one of the top transfer targets this past offseason. Yeah, KJ Williams. It's very rare and this is one thing that got us excited about Isaiah Mosley, but we were tempering our expectations because when you jump up from mid-major level to Power 5 conference, there's usually a drop-off. Not for KJ Williams. He's been pretty incredible.
He's kind of just the guy there also.
That's true. They do have Adam Miller.
Yeah.
Who...
He started off the season really well.
Yes.
I don't know.
He's slumping hard.
Okay.
Not shooting the ball well. He has not been great offensively in their last 7 games. Nobody has. They're averaging under 60 points per game.
They suck.
Well, they've had a tough schedule. This will be easily their most winnable game since December. Yeah. I think Mizzou...
Now, is this one's on the road?
This is a home game for Missouri.
Home game for Missouri. And then we play at LSU later in the season, I believe.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yes, that's correct. LSU 125 in KenPom, 174 on offense, 98 on defense. In conference play, you could probably predict this, 14th out of 14 in offensive efficiency. This has to be a game where Mizzou's defense looks somewhat okay.
Yeah. I feel like they had a stretch. They looked terrible against Ole Miss. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
But they had a stretch there where I thought the defense, when the offense was slumping, the defense stepped up is what it felt like.
Yeah.
I know they're capable of it. The rotations looked at least competent for the first time ever maybe in the season, just 2 or 3 games ago.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they got to play well against LSU because their offense has been pretty horrible.
Yeah, just to further, KJ Williams, 6'10", 250, he's shooting 43% from 3. He shoots 78% from the free throw line, doesn't turn the ball over, blocks shots, gets steals. He's one of the better offensive rebounders in the SEC.
Yeah, he's going to have a game.
Yeah.
Do you remember a guy named Will Wade?
Will Wade. No.
Now that's a name.
Will Wade. What's he up to these days?
I don't know. I don't think he exists anymore.
Yeah, he did the classic, just like leave the program in shambles. Well, he got fired. Did he even get fired officially?
I don't know.
Regardless,
he should have been fired 3 years before he actually was left.
3 or 4 separate times he should have been fired. Like breaking news: Will Wade just cheated in recruiting. You're like, oh well, they got to. Yeah, one more year. Yeah, I think they've got some sanctions. They probably self-imposed some sanctions already, but
I actually think Matt McMahon was potentially involved with Missouri last year when they were looking for a new coach. Mm-hmm. But he said, I'll take on the sanctions. I don't care.
Oof.
I'll go coach at LSU. They got good food down there.
Yeah, not looking good for him or Adam Miller, who was
tied to Mizzou.
He was coming to Mizzou. It was a done deal, according to some people, last offseason. Missouri's going to win this game, I think. Home game against LSU.
Yeah.
It's one of these you got to win. I think Missouri, they're going to look okay in this one. They're going to look pretty good. Mm. I think they win this one by double digits.
Wow.
Give me Mizzou 81-70.
Okay. Give me 77-65, Missouri. Do you ever revisit these scores, or do we just write them down?
Oh, if we ever get one really, really close, then I'll bring it up. So
have we ever been close, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you remember the Arkansas football game?
No.
I got that score exactly correct.
Really?
Yeah.
Good job. Yeah, didn't you? It was 27 to. No, it was 29 to 26 or some weird score that never should have happened.
Yep.
And you said it, and it was right.
That's exactly right. I mean, I'll remember it forever. It's my greatest achievement in my entire life.
I don't doubt that.
Don't tell my daughter. Is it having a kid an achievement?
I guess.
People say that, right? It's just a joke.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think
we don't need to overthink it.
I think it's an achievement, for sure.
Maybe we should judge the achievement after 5 years or so, see how they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll revisit this conversation.
Pregnancy is a long journey.
Well,
that's an achievement just to get to birth.
That's true. Okay. We'll check back on this in 5 years, see how we're doing.
Okay.
Mizzou going to go 1-1 this week. No big deal. Iowa State's really good. Got to beat LSU. That's a just incredibly winnable home game. Keep us on the right track. That'll put us above 500 in conference play. Need that one. Anything else before we get going?
What's next week? Do we got a Tuesday or Wednesday game?
Next week,
Wednesday.
The LSU game is on Wednesday.
Okay.
So we'll figure that out.
Yeah, we did that wrong.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Okay.
That all?
That's it.
Special thank you to our Patreon supporters at the $10 level and above: Britt Treese, Brian Smith, Ryan DeMore, Tristan, Ben Smith, Parker, Daddy JD, Tim Keens, Tyler Harsel, Brandon Groffalo, Brandon Hanks. If you're listening, don't put your mugs in the dishwasher. Hand wash only.
That's serious.
Hand wash only.
We have proof.
Yeah.
That's a bad idea. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Do I normally say that?
You did.
Thank you, gentlemen. You can find this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. We're on Twitter at Mizzou Sports Pod, and you can email us at MissouriSportsPod@gmail.com.
You can find our t-shirts and stickers on our online shop, MissouriSportsPod.BigCartel.com.
We have one extra mug if you put yours in the dishwasher. Don't put it in the dishwasher. And never use discountmugs.com. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next week.